Hi everyone. This is our seventh, I think, either sixth or seventh episode. Matt is here with us today again. Finally, we got another episode with him. Uh, just a heads up, we were gonna talk about Ubisoft on this episode, but we decided to just. Matt, do you want to explain the situation?
Unfortunately, obviously, there's an ongoing hostage situation apparently at the Montreal headquarters for Ubisoft. And obviously, we're all hoping that everything turns out okay and everyone is safe. So, we're not going to talk about our Ubisoft topic today. And hopefully, everything turns out well.
Yeah.
If we get any updates during the podcast, I'll let you know. But for now, I'm just hoping everyone's okay.
Uh, yeah. Obviously, Matt's words aren't my words, so I hope everything works out at the end. Uh, but anyway, let's talk about other topics. By the way, we're trying out something different here. I'm trying to work with OBS and I'm slowly learning. So for now, I'm recording. Maybe in the future I can actually live stream our podcast, would be really cool. But right now I'm working. If you like the layout, let us know. If you want some changes or things that I can change on the with the layout, just let us know. Now, the topics of this episode, we're gonna talk about. First of all, the PS5 is out. If you're American, this is the PS5 week. If you're European, this is just a normal, regular week for you, which hurts to say. But we're gonna talk about the PS5 because it is out on America, in America, sorry. And we're gonna talk about we're gonna look over some PS5 games just quickly, and then we're gonna focus a little bit on Miles because I haven't been playing it yet. I will only be playing it next Thursday. But Matt here has already game on the PS4, so he's gonna talk to us about his experience so far because I don't think he has beaten the game yet. You didn't beat the game yet, right? Yeah. Okay.
Nope, not yet.
Then we're gonna talk about an exciting news for Matt, and actually exciting news for me too, because I'm gonna be able to experience. Mass Effect news. Mass Effect trilogy is coming out for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC, but obviously the PS5 will have like the enhanced version. Same thing for Xbox, and PC is just PC. So um, we're also gonna talk a bit about Cyberpunk's situation right now, because if you know, Cyberpunk is basically becoming the new mutants of the gaming world. It's never coming out, and not only is it never coming out, it's making their company crunch, which sucks. So we'll dive into that, and obviously we're gonna end our episode with the usual pick of the week. So let's talk the first topic. The PS5 is out in America. It's gotten a lot of great reviews, obviously, uh, and a few games have come out. But the one that seems to be really like getting people hyped for the PS5, say, is Miles Morales, Spider-Man. So this is basically, if you have been living under a rock, this is a DLC uh, slash standalone game. So basically, it's imagine half of the Spider-Man game. That's basically Miles Morales. So it's a DLC, but like with a strength. It's a
Yeah,
bigger DLC
it feels
than regular. Exactly. Yeah.
it feels basically like an expansion. Like not like it's not a full game. It's not a DLC. It's I'd say an expansion.
It's in the
And
middle. Yeah, it's in the
and,
middle.
and and to their credit, they've priced it appropriately. Like
Yeah,
it's not a
yeah.
full priced game. I saw this really funny headline from this satire website where they're like Sony puts out a statement that Miles Morales is a sequel, is a separate but equal game from Peter Parker or something, and it's like that kind of feels like that's been their whole PR towards it. Um, but there's a surprising amount of content too. I've put. Sorry, are we gonna just start talking about it
Yeah,
now?
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess.
You
Great.
can dive in. I'm just gonna say,
Okay. Cool.
I think I can get my thoughts out first because they're
Absolutely.
really short. So, from what I've seen, Miles Morales looks pretty awesome. It looks really cool. The swinging mechanics look really cool and really different from actual Peter, swinging mechanics from his game. The fighting looks awesome. I love to see Miles' powers being used so differently. It looks like the experience on the PS5 really enhances the overall game. I'm not bashing on the PS4 players. It's not a. There's a reason why this is a launch title on the PS5. It's because they really wanted to give a different experience for the PS5 players. So like, it's expected to be, I don't want to say better, but different on the PS5. So, but it seems like the experience on the PS5 really is something spectacular. No pun intended. And I'm really excited. I get it Thursday. I'm gonna get Sackboy, Big Adventure, and Miles, but obviously I'm gonna focus on Miles first and then Sackboy. But Matt, since you played it, let us know something you want to talk about the game. Your thoughts,
Yeah, no,
problems
I
with the
mean,
game. Maybe you have some problems with the game. Who knows?
I actually have some, but
Oh, nice.
um, first of all, as a PS4 peasant who's playing it, I have to say I'm really impressed, pleasantly so, because I was kind of worried that how well it runs on the PS4. I don't even have a PS4 Pro. It's just the basic PS4, and it runs so smoothly for the most part. Like loading screens are like almost non-existent, which I did not expect. And I think I have only experienced one time where I was playing where there were like 20 enemies on screen and, excuse me, tons of particle effects, and it lagged a tiny bit, and that's it. It runs so well, and I was so happy about that. And it's funny you talked about how the swinging animations and the combat are kind of different. This to me is a perfect example of a studio like taking a formula that worked and just slightly tweaking it to still make it feel fresh, because it's weird. The basic mechanics of combat and swinging have not been changed at all. It's like the exact same. But when you're swinging as Miles, the animations, and this makes it all the more, I think, better, is it clearly shows someone who's new at web swinging and is also has like this sort of unbridled joy that he's doing it, because so many times it'll look like he just managed to swing, and or he like just man, like he'll land, and sometimes the animations will make him like whoa, like almost a little unbalanced, and then like other animations he'll do like a huge swing, and he'll just his body language will just sort of explode in like this happiness of like, oh my god, this is awesome that I'm doing it. um and that affects how I feel, because then I'm like, yeah, this is really awesome. Oh my gosh. um and in terms of gameplay, like I said, they haven't changed the core mechanics. It's still like counter, you gotta get
It's the
people in the
Arkham
air.
Knight type of gameplay.
Yeah. I would say the biggest difference between this gameplay and Arkham Knight is you got to stay grounded. Spider-Man gameplay, you got to be in the air as much as
True,
possible.
true.
Um, but what they've changed, and it's a very subtle change, but it's a very effective change, is that Miles is less gadget focused and more on his like extra powers, like his Venom Blast, his invisibility, because he really only like I wouldn't say I'm all like at the ending, but I'm pretty close standing. I really only have three gadgets,
Hmm.
which I was worried about, but because you have your like Venom Blast and your invisibility,
Hmm.
those kind of work as gadgets, but it's enough to feel different. Like
Okay.
you can like your Venom Blasts are essentially like a super powered like taser web.
Okay.
uh and you can like upgrade your Venom Blast to like ricochet off to other people. You can, if you're feeling overwhelmed while you're fighting, just go invisible and like escape for a bit. Like
What about
which sorry,
the story? What are you
the
thinking about the story?
story so far is fantastic. There's a few moments of weak writing, but overall, like the characters, the interactions and relationships that Miles has with the characters and his neighborhood. Like he's moved to Harlem
Mm-hmm.
uh, from Brooklyn, and a big part of Miles's story, like personal story throughout this, is him kind of getting used to his new home and connecting with it. And it's really cool because this, more than any other video game, movie, TV, has felt like he is really a friendly neighborhood because as you progress in the story and if you do some optional side missions, it affects the neighborhood
Oh,
that he
that's
lives
pretty
in.
cool.
And like then when you pass, like store owners will be like thanking you and stuff, like because when you start the game they're like, oh, great, we got like the discount Spider-Man or whatever. And like even when you go to help people they're like, I fine, try, I don't think you'll succeed. And then by the end they like really celebrate you and it feels like you are part of this community,
That's
which
pretty
is
cool.
really awesome.
That's
um
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
yeah, that's the best part I would say of the story is you really feel like you are making a difference in this world. The actual story itself is like fine, like it's not, it's clearly like, again, and I don't even mean that as a diss. The best part is the sense of community and the characters, and the story is just kind of a vehicle to create opportunities for Miles to interact with these characters. And I haven't finished the story. Maybe it'll wow me at the end. But so far, it's been fine. Yeah.
I'm actually expecting like I'm not, like I was expecting something in the lines of like Into the Spider Verse, where Miles was just trying to find his footing in the world itself, and knowing
Mm-hmm.
like he has to live up to Spider Man. I don't know. I like that type of story. Again, I've not played it. I don't know
No,
how it
that
is.
that is
I've seen
that.
zero content when it comes to story. All I know is like all I know is like Peter. This is not a spoiler. This is in like the one of the trailers. Peter supposedly goes out of town with MJ, so Miles has to like take care of the city for him for a while. That's all I know. But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
really funny how that happens.
to be
There
honest,
literally
like
is.
you can't
Yeah.
really dive too deep because this is again it's like a DLC, so there can't be that much depth in the
I honest,
DLC.
I don't think, I think calling it a DLC does it a disservice. Like I've seen people be like, "Oh, it's 6 hours long." I'm like,
No, no, no.
no,
Yeah, a
it
lot of
isn't.
games are 6 hours
Like,
long. Like Resident Evil
like
3 came out this year and it's 3 hours
yeah,
long. 3 hours.
but like the difference
If you're
between
good,
this
you
and
can beat it in
Resident,
like an hour. That's
but like
insane.
the difference between this and Resident Evil 3 is like I understand when people are like, "Oh, well, this game is 6 hours," but I'm like, no one plays a game like this, and I'm sure some people do, but to I'm sure the vast majority of people who play these games don't just speed through the main mission.
Oh yeah, no, no.
There's like, and I haven't even touched the collectibles where it's like, you like in the Spider-Man PS4, you would collect backpacks. In this one, Miles collects like time capsules or whatever,
Oh
like
really?
stuff
That's
like
cool.
that. Like those side missions, those side things. I've barely touched those.
Oh, okay. So you
I've
have a lot
only
to like
done
clean
I've
up.
only done there's a bunch of side missions which are really interesting and have like branching storylines
Mm-hmm.
with cutscenes and memorable characters, which is really cool. So I've done those, and I have done story missions. And sometimes if I'm just swinging by and it's like right there, I'll find a time capsule or something. But like I spent an embarrassing amount of time
Just
planted in
swinging.
front of my screen um, yesterday because and just I basically just spent the entire day playing the game. Uh, and like I said, I haven't even touched a lot of the side stuff, so I don't like. I think just calling it, referring to it as a DLC,
Isn't fair.
I think brings the impression that it's like one of the DLCs for the Spider-Man
I
PS4,
don't know because
which it is not
I
that.
don't know
There's
because
so much more to it.
lately the DLC type of thing is getting like better and better with like the as the years go by. For example, when I think of DLC, if you ask me like, oh, what do you think about like Last of Us DLC back in 2013? I would say like, oh, DLC is probably like a an hour thing. But usually, right now, things are getting like bigger and bigger. I I'm not. I don't know if I'm right on this, but I don't know if this is true, but I believe like Witcher's 3 DLC is like 3 hours long or something like that.
Witcher 3?
Yeah, there's like two Witcher 3
Oh, dude,
DLCs.
Witcher 3 DLCs are like
My friend
the
told me
Witcher
they are
3.
gigantic. He said
They're huge. Witcher 3 DLCs. They're not like, again, those are expansions. Like Blood and Wine for Witcher 3 is essentially an entire game.
that's what I'm saying. Like you
Yeah.
right now, D- I don't look at DLCs as like sure it is an expansion to the game, but I, right now I feel DLCs are things that are bigger than just like a than they used to be. That's what I'm
Mhm,
trying to say.
mhm.
Like DLCs are not like the thing that was like an hour long that you could beat in like.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like if we just call them like there's like I wish we had like a tier list of like there's DLC, there's expansion,
So
and
let's
there's
call this
full
an
game.
expansion. Let's
Yeah,
call
that's
Miles an
exactly
expansion.
what I
I feel
call this.
Miles.
I call this an excellent expansion so far.
It
Uh,
reminds me of Lost Legacy. I don't know if you played Lost Legacy on the PS4.
no, I know what you
Yeah,
mean. Yeah.
when I bought that, I remember people were talking like, "Oh, it's too short." It took me like 12 hours to beat it, and I was like, "12 hours is like a regular game. It is a
Hmm.
regular game. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't remember which one.
yeah.
Oh, so okay, I paid full price for Avengers, and it took me less time to beat Avengers than it took me to beat Lost Legacy. And Lost Legacy only cost like $30 or $40. I remember. I don't think you have to look like they're not charging you for a full game. They always told you
Hmm.
this is just like an expansion. This is basically your segue into Spider-Man 2. So I don't know why people expected a
Yeah,
Spider-Man
it's
2 out of this. And Insomniac is working on two games, so like they have a lot of work on deck. So to get this expansion, whatever you want to call it, this early and be this like filled with content, that's insane. When they have like a
honestly, I'm so impressed that they didn't charge full price for this because honestly, I feel like they could have gotten away with it.
oh
I
yeah, they could have
mean,
gotten away. And they kind
there'd
of
be a
did.
lot of there'd be a lot of mad people, but like
They kind of
maybe I'm
did
just
if you
a
think about
shill,
it. They are
but
selling
I would absolutely be willing to pay full price
they
for
are
this game.
selling the Miles with the Spider-Man remaster for full
Mhm.
price. And I swear to you, I today I went to pick up my Miles Morales copy because apparently you can't get the PS5 until November 19, but you can get literally anything else PS5 related. It's weird. I went to pick up my copy of Miles, and I swear to God, there were no like on stock copies of the Ultimate Edition, which is Miles and Spider-Man remaster. And I went back home and I checked the website. It's not even in stock online. So like, and the regular version is in stock, and it is both in stock in store and online. I think people are going way more to the ultimate version because they think it's just $20 more or $10
Mhm.
more, and you get the another game and a bigger game. And I
And
think the
see,
game and look, I'm not saying it's a bad remaster, but from what I look at PS4 at the PS5 version of Spider-Man, it's like a minor upgrade. They could have
mhm.
given that for free, like they're gonna give for every single game, but they saw a chance to pack it with Miles and sell it as as a full game, and that's cool. Like, if I never played PS4 Spider-Man, I would obviously get that package,
Yeah.
and a lot of people, the people that are jumping from like Xbox to PS5, are gonna get that package because I'm assuming they haven't played PS4 Spider-Man, so like they kind of got away because they kind of
Yeah.
threw in a
No,
free game for like $10, which brings
mhm.
the total
Well,
of Miles to full price.
it's really cool because I went on the PlayStation Store to get Miles, and I when I got it, it said it includes the PS5 version.
Oh yeah, you get the upgrade for
So
free. Yeah.
I was like, wow, I was not expecting that.
Whenever you
That's
get the
really cool.
PS5, you'll get it Miles as well.
Yeah, unless I get like some crazy 80% off deal during Boxing
No,
Week,
no.
I'm waiting.
I think the only no, I think the only way is you gotta check your code to see when it expires.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Because usually
in
there's
any
like
case,
big.
I'm
Imagine like I think the codes take like 5 years to expire.
no. Okay,
But
but
yeah,
in any case, I'm not. going to be buying a PS5 anytime soon because I am broke enough as it is, and I probably shouldn't have even bought the game. But oh well.
I'm
Yeah.
out of all the PS5 content, I think the one I'm most excited is Miles and the Astro. Have you heard about that game? Astro Playroom?
Astro Player.
Yeah.
No, I
It's
haven't. But
basically
like,
a free PS5 game, comes with all PS5s it's basically a platformer that they created around the DualShock 5. So everything they do in the game is to show you how the DualShock works and the PS5 itself works, which to me it looks really cool. A lot of reviews say it's like the best free game since Wii Sports, because Wii Sports came free with your Wii. So like I'm really excited for that, and Miles, and I also got Sackboy because I love platformers. But those two games, I 6 days. I just have to live through 6 days and I'll play
almost
these
there.
games, and I'll give my thoughts and we'll going deeper into the game. I think we can do like a spoiler and spoiler free review of the game,
Yeah, for sure.
because it's gonna be like a week after everyone has it, so it's fine. Okay, let's move into another topic, which is Mass Effect is getting a remaster, which is pretty awesome. It's getting a remaster of 1, 2, and 3. Yeah? No Andromeda, right? No, Andromeda was
No
PS4, so
Andromeda.
there's no reason to remaster a game that's
Yeah.
already on PS4. That's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna go first because you're gonna rant for like, not rant, you're gonna glorify the game
No, no,
for
no.
like
Go
10
ahead.
minutes.
Go ahead.
Uh, I'm super excited. I talked to Matt about this. I really want to play those games and then do a video with Matt on the three games, because I want to talk about my first experience with the games, because I will be playing them. When does it come out? Did they give a date? I actually
Yeah,
don't remember.
they said spring 2021, so I'm
Oh,
assuming that means like May.
it's yeah. Okay, yeah. Is it full price or is it like $40? They didn't say it then.
No, no, I'm sure it's full price. I'm sure
Oh,
it's going to be full price.
gonna get.
But
It's okay.
it's full price for 3 games that includes all
Yeah.
of the
Aren't
DLC.
each game is like what,
Like,
20 hours? They're long games,
oh,
right?
you can, it's probably, you can
Okay, yeah.
sink so much time in those games.
I'm actually really excited because I never played them, and actually I was thinking a while ago I was thinking about playing them on my PC because I think they're on Steam, but I was like, no, I can feel a remaster coming for some reason. I could feel a remaster coming, and so I
You can
waited, and
sense it.
I sense a remaster coming. So I waited, and it is. So I'm really excited to play all three of them. I've I, I know basically nothing about the game. I thought the game was more of like a point and click game than actually a shooter. Okay, I don't want to diss point and click games. I love point and click games. Walking Dead is one of the best games ever made. But when I looked at like Mass Effect, I always thought it was like more oriented to like story than gameplay.
Hmm.
And Pedro from 2009, which was around when Mass Effect was like kind of popular, did, I didn't want that. I wanted to play. I didn't want to hear a story. And then Pedro played Uncharted 2, and I was like, okay, no, I want to know. I want to play games with story. So I never got on the Mass Effect board, but I'm happy I'll be able to play them all.
Mhm.
You may talk about it now. Go ahead. I'll give you the spotlight. You have 2 hours.
Yeah, man, this is just like the Matt show right now. Spider-Man, now Mass Effect. I am so jealous that you're gonna be able to experience like all 3 games with all the DLC. Um, yeah, it's funny. I didn't actually like when I started hearing about the Mass Effect remaster news, like rumors and stuff. I actually wasn't that excited because like I was like I played those games. I want a new game. And then part of the news for the in Mass Effect Remastered in their official post, they were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, they like snuck it in at the end. They're like, by the way, we're working on a new Mass Effect game, which I hope won't even see any other news for like years and years because like they literally just dropped like a 1 inch of concept art. But so that's really cool. But what I'm very excited about is that they said they've spent a lot of time modernizing Mass Effect 1, which is good because Mass Effect 1, as much as I love the whole franchise, its gameplay wise is quite awful. Like even
Really? Oh.
yeah, even for its time, it's not great. and now like especially like the side missions. I've never seen such a leap in quality, like a dramatic leap in quality from Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2, and specifically the side missions.
Hmm.
Mass Effect 1, the side missions are go to this planet, drop down in your vehicle, drive to a station that is the same map every single time, fight through enemies, and there you go. And like that is I'd say 90% of the side mission.
Actually, I never
Uh,
asked you which one is your
so
favorite out of the three of them.
three, which a lot of people say two, and I get that, but three, I think, just
Even
takes everything and perfects it. And yes, I know the ending
oh
isn't
yeah, that's what I
great.
was gonna say.
The ending isn't great. Like I'm not going to deny that. However,
It's not about the ending; it's about the journey.
with the well, that too, but with the do you know what the extended cut
Yeah, I
is?
remember
Or
they released like a free DLC with a different
yeah,
ending or an extended ending, right?
it's funny because it's not. I wouldn't say it's a different ending. It's just more they're like they actually take the time to explain to you what is going on in the ending. Because like I remember like my biggest thing with the ending was I don't know what happens. Like, I have no idea what's happening. You just skipped like a bunch of stuff, and then they take the time to actually explain what's going on in the ending. And I quite enjoy the ending. It's still a little underwhelming, sure, but I quite enjoy it. And like everyone gives three crap for like, oh, my choices didn't matter because they weren't reflected in the ending. And I was like, first of all, they kind of are in the extended cut, depending on your choices. But something that I feel isn't giving credit to three, and what's probably the main reason why it's my favorite, is that for 99% of the game, your choices from the first and the second game heavily impact how like the dynamic of the third game. Like
Hmm.
depending on if a character from the first game is dead or not, it completely changes the dynamic of one of the main aspects of the story. Same thing with another character. If a character from the second game is dead or not, heavily changes the dynamic of a huge plot point. If you choose like a certain character to like be appointed in a certain position.
Hmm.
That again, in the third game, like it's completely changed because you have to like consider like without giving anything too
Away.
much away. The third game is a lot about like bringing people together and seeing how complicated that is. It's not just like we got to band together,
Oh,
guys, and everyone goes
it's
okay.
basically Last of Us too. Okay, I
Yeah,
got
like
you.
you got to actually compromise, and then you have to choose who you're going to trust. And if the character that you trusted in the first game is in this position, then it's like, okay, that makes me lean towards this side. But then in another playthrough, that character wasn't there because that character was dead, which made it you go like, I actually don't know whose side to choose for this one. So like, it implements those choices I think so well, and it makes every playthrough really unique. And in terms of gameplay, two and three I think hold up very well. It's essentially Gears of War, like
Okay.
the gameplay.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh really?
like
Okay.
yeah,
I like a lot
third
Gears of
person
War.
cover.
Okay.
You can I don't know if you can do this in Gears of War, but in Mass Effect you can pause
Mm-hmm.
and issue commands to your squad mates and yourself, and you can do
I'm
like
not fully sure. I
combinations.
don't. The last
Yeah.
time I played. Okay, so last one I played was Gears One, and I I never played the other ones. I have all of them. I have all of them and all the Halos. I'm trying to play one Gears and one Halo every year. So this year I
Yeah.
beat Halo One, Gear One, and Halo One as well.
Nice.
But I
Yeah.
think you can. I think you can. I'm not
Okay.
100%
Cool.
sure. Because I played it early this year. Before it was even before COVID attacked. Uh, I think you can. Yeah, I think you can.
Okay. Yeah. So then basically, it's essentially that
But
it's third person cover. You can pause. You can issue commands to yourself and your squad mates. And oh, excuse me. And it's really fun. Like the second game really switched it up from the first gameplay, which was awful.
I actually have a question about
Yeah.
the game. You don't play with only one character, right? You play with various characters, or do you only play with one character?
Well, your character Shepard,
It's
like
Shepard,
Commander
right?
Shepard.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then you bring two squad mates with you, and you like swap them out
Oh,
depending
okay.
on your preference.
Okay, that's pretty
Um,
cool.
yeah, and then certain missions, like it's like no, this character has to be there for this. But that's usually because it's a mission directly relating to them, and those are always like the best missions, also. So yeah,
You're
it's
pretty
really
excited.
great. The worlds, the
Do you have the
characters,
games on
the
PC?
yeah,
So
I do.
you're gonna get the remaster for free.
I am.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In all games that come out like PS4, Xbox, and PC, they usually give the versions of the remastered versions of PC free to everyone who bought the other versions.
That would be great.
Usually they do that. Like you remember when Skyrim released like 500 different versions? They always gave
Yeah.
the PC people
Mm.
who bought the game on PC for free the
Well, that would be
HD version.
awesome.
So you're gonna probably get it for free. Yeah, I'm super excited. I gotta stop saying I'm excited for a lot of games because it looks like
Hey, it's a good
2020
2020 is
2020.
awful,
Yeah,
but the games have been good.
true. True. The
Yeah.
saving grace of this year was honestly everything gaming
Yeah.
because I
Also,
think gaming was the
also
one
the
thing that was saving us.
also the election.
True.
um, no, I am just so excited for not just people being able to revisit it, but also to see like a sort of new generation and
And
like people who didn't play it before to be able to experience it
and you
because
know
it
what's funny?
yeah
Everyone is focusing on remaster because true, it is the thing that's coming the nearest, but they also confirmed that they are working on another Mass
yeah
Effect
no
game. They
another
gave us like
yeah
a
which yeah which again
I'll
I
put the concept art here, but they gave us like a concept art for the next one where they want to take it. I'm hoping it's not as bad as Andromeda. Look, I didn't play Andromeda, but I did see a lot of videos, and the game looked kind of.
I'm
I'm.
sorry. Okay, can I just ask you what like of the videos that you saw of Andromeda
That's what I'm gonna
was it
say. I'm
about?
not
Was
gonna
it about the
question
face?
like I'm not gonna question the gameplay. I'm not gonna question the story. I'm questioning the presentation of the game.
Yeah, was it of like the one person making it a weird face?
No, there were a lot. There were a lot of bugs. I saw a lot of, like compilations of the game having.
Yeah, no.
It
To be
reminds
fair,
me of
like
Unity. So
there were
Assassin's
there were
Creed
a lot of
Unity had
there were a
like
lot
a
of
shit
bugs.
ton of game.
There were a
Yeah,
lot of bugs,
sorry.
but within a week they did a
All gone.
patch. Which no, not all gone, but they did a patch within a week that fixed almost all of the bugs. And at that point, people just decided that it
It
was like done,
it's kind of
and so
disgusting, but at the same time, I can kind of
like
understand that like
like
people. It's your first impression of the game. If your first
mhm.
impression is bad, people are gonna remember that. They're not gonna remember that you
Yeah,
fixed it with
for sure.
because like
It's weird though because like I remember playing people like oh the faces suck and I'm like they're am I seeing something different like they're not like it's true they're not like oh my god mind blowing but I never really had a huge issue with the
did you
faces and then
did
they
you
did a
ever
patch within like a week to fix them
yeah
and I honestly I was like, I don't. I mean, I guess they're a little bit better, but I don't. And then people are like, oh yes, this is so much better. I'm like, well, I'm glad that you guys like it more, but
did you
okay.
play Unity, Assassin's Creed Unity?
Yes.
That game
Funnily enough,
when
very
it
recently because someone gifted it to me.
that game when it came out was
Yeah.
atrocious. It was
Yeah.
off buggy. It
I,
was not
I would
working at
argue
all.
that I would argue that it's still atrocious,
I
but
don't think so because I played the game a
it's
while ago,
but
like
that's just
2 years
because
ago.
I don't like old school Assassin's Creed games.
Oh,
I've
I like
decided
Unity a
I
lot. I
played
think Unity is one of the
yeah.
best out of the pre.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say pre Black Flag, but Black Flag did come before.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Black
Pre. I'm blanking on the Egyptian game.
Origins.
Origins, yeah, pre
Yeah.
Origins. I think game looks incredible still to me, in my personal
Oh, it
opinion.
looks
It looks
incredible. It
incredible. I really
yeah
like the gameplay. I really like the location. I don't know, it worked for me, but
yeah I
that game was like destroyed by everyone. Everyone was saying it's bad. I was like, and they're like, we're gonna fix it. It was a problem. We're gonna fix it, and they did fix it. I think the game is working way better
Mhm.
than when it came out. But
It's had
people
a
were,
big yeah, it's had a big resurgence among Assassin's Creed Assassin's Creed
and and
fans.
and another
Like
game
it,
that is kind of attached to this one is not attached like to Assassin's Creed, but attached to this topic is Avengers. Avengers was really badly received when it came out. For the presentation itself, it was terrible, and there were a lot of bugs, and it really, and they were like, we're gonna fix it, and they did fix it, and the game is working way better now. Like, there's a lot of
great.
things they fixed there, and it really hurts that the team that made Avengers is working so hard on the game to keep it alive. It's so sad because they really like the game and they really want to keep it going. But a lot of people, I don't know if you saw that the like news that like
Yeah, I lost a bunch of
seventy
money.
percent of the active players are gone. That's so
Yeah.
sad to me.
I mean,
I'm
honestly,
in that
like
percentage to be honest, because I played the game for like 2 weeks and then stopped playing. I never played it again. I do intend on coming back when they release the DLCs, which is funny because no one cares about the Spider-Man DLC now because no one wants to play Avengers. Uh,
yeah.
but it's sad because I do think the game is cool and I wish people had actually like give it a chance. Maybe they would like it, but yeah, kind of. I like that they're still keeping the game going, and who knows, maybe like a year the game is awesome. Battlefront 2 is awesome now, but when it came out it was
Yeah.
terrible. So like,
No, I'm always nice to see developers like be like, no, we're actually gonna stick with it and we're gonna fix it even if it doesn't end up being as successful as we hope.
yeah,
That's always nice to see. Um yeah,
yeah,
I think I'm just not a fan of like Assassin's Creed games prior to like Origins, with the exception of Black Flag. But yeah,
but anyways,
I,
Mass Effect looks great.
yes, it
Please,
does. I am
according to
so
Matt, check it out because he recommends
check it
it.
out.
He
Wait
can't
for it
recommend it
since
enough.
they're doing the remaster. Just wait for that to come out. But like, it's I remember being in like my first year of high school and looking at Mass Effect 1 and being like, why am I having a debate about God in this game? like literally
That's
like just
awesome.
can debate about like the existence of a higher power in the first game with your crewmates, and it's like a really interesting deep discussion about like how one crewmate's like, well, look, we're in space, look at all this amazing stuff, of course there's a god, and you as the character can be like, oh, I agree or I disagree or I don't know, like that game genuinely made introduced me to like philosophy which is not something I expected from a video game. But hey, it's kind of made me look at games as like something like a
Something
really
deeper.
awesome vehicle for yeah for like awesome discussions like that and great storytelling. And
And then there's Mario Sunshine to counterpart those questions.
that's also a great game.
It is. Anyways, let's move on to another
All
topic,
right,
and this is kind of a what what's the word I'm trying to use here? Sad topic.
frustrating.
Sad.
yeah,
It's kind of sad
yeah,
for a lot of reasons, but
yeah,
as you know, as you probably know, Cyberpunk was delayed again.
yeah.
Now it was delayed to December 10th. I'm
Which I think it's going to be delayed again.
Yeah, me
By the
too. Oh, for sure. I don't know if you saw the
way,
leak, but there was a leak that said the game
yeah,
is
they're
still
gonna.
not running as they want, so it's gonna get
Oh,
delayed to 2021. That's why I was gonna actually pre-order it, and then when
mhm.
I saw it being delayed for December 10, I was like, I'm not I'm not so sure about that release. I'm keeping my money until I have like a definitive
Mhm.
release. Anyway, oh, it's very funny. If you saw that tweet, there was a guy asked like literally the day before. There's like, okay, I'm gonna
Yeah,
use a paid off day to stay home and play Cyberpunk. Can you confirm it's coming out November 19th?
yeah,
They
and
were
they're
like,
like,
yes.
absolutely.
And then the other day it's gonna
The
be like,
next day, they're
but
like,
they
it's getting delayed.
but they did send him like a care package with a lot of things. I think like they sent him like a lot of things to that guy, but.
That's sweet.
But anyway, this news came to no surprise. I think a lot of people were expecting this. I myself was expecting it to be delayed. Even when you went gold, I kind of felt like, is it gold really? Because
I feel like that was them responding to that article about how like because there was a an article that Jason
yeah.
I'm gonna mispronounce his last name Schreier I think
Mm-hmm.
of I can't remember the website's name. Well, that's super professional. I think
Uh,
it's Kotaku. Um, he did like this whole article about how like there's been intense crunch for
yeah,
not for Naughty Dog for
for
CD
CD
Project
Projekt.
Red, and like the next day, I think they said, "Oh, look, we've gone gold." Uh, I feel like that was a direct response to that, and they
To be
jumped the
fair,
gun a bit.
gone a game going gold doesn't mean it is like 100%.
Yeah, no, it
Going
means that you
gold
can
means the
play it
game
from
is
start.
playable from start to finish.
Mhm.
You can actually play the game, but that doesn't mean the game won't have any bugs. And
Yeah.
the game
Mhm.
probably has bugs that are kind of significant. So that's why I'm assuming they delayed. But after this news broke, more reports are coming in about CD Projekt Red crunching to get the game out, and including I think a developer came out and said he worked how many hours on a week? 100 hours, right, or something like that.
Yeah,
He said he
it
worked
was
a
like
hundred
scary.
hours in a week. I'm gonna just do the math real quick. I think it's like 16 per day or 14 per day.
Yeah,
Um, I'm gonna be real quick here. And 100 uh, divided by 7, that's 14 hours per day. That's insane. That's ridiculous. And
that
we
like someone could die from that,
yes,
like which
and
is
they said like their free time was basically used to to shower, eat 3 meals, so that's breakfast, lunch and dinner, sleep and shower. That's it. That's what they use their free time for, which is just just not right at all. And this is something that it seems to be coming more and more as a traditional thing to do in gaming. And it's kind of weird that people are like, "Oh, who cares? I work a lot of hours too." I doubt anyone works 14 hours a day. No one works 14 hours a day that I know, at least. If they're working 14 hours a day, they're probably willingly working 14 hours a day. It's not something that, and I don't think the developers wanted to work 14 hours a day on a
yeah.
game that was clearly
And
getting
also
delayed. That's the thing
like
that bugs me the most. Like, at least imagine, like, if they crunch, okay, they're crunching to get the release. At least they got to the finish line, though. At least there's like a silver lining on this. No, 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 no. They delayed it, so now I'm assuming, and
you can
it's probably
crunch more.
they're gonna crunch more. So like, oh, okay, thanks, bro. We're gonna add some more hours. How about that? And
Yeah,
it's weird that did Cyberpunk, sorry, not Cyberpunk. Did CD Project ever like reply to these accusations per se?
I don't I don't think they did that. Like, that's why I think that going gold thing was their unofficial response to that because kind of like f you.
Yeah,
Like something that's really bugging me is like a big thing that I've been seeing in response to like, oh look at how much crunch these people are going through is yeah, well crunch happens everywhere. Like, okay,
it's such a bad reason. I don't know
that's
why
not
people.
good. That's very bad that crunch happens everywhere. And like they're like, oh well, in Poland their labor rules are different. Yeah, that's not good that that happens. Like,
Honestly, I blame CD Project Red because they kept promising dates that they probably knew weren't gonna happen, and
yep.
since they promised dates that they knew that to get those dates we have to get some crunch on it, so like that's kind of really bad. So I'm not saying like crunch doesn't happen; it happens, and I'm not saying it should be like completely written out. Probably like some companies do pay workers for like the extra crunch, and like
Mm-hmm.
they pay handsomely. Apparently, like I remember reading about like a Naughty Dog employee that said like, yeah, I crunch, but I wanted to crunch,
Mm-hmm.
and they actually paid me for like the extra hours I worked. And I think crunch is going to happen sometimes, but not this level, not like 14 hours a day crunch to a date
Yeah,
that they kind of
there
knew
was
probably wouldn't. make it. So like I don't know, like it's weird
Yeah,
that they
it's
delayed
just
the
it's
game
just
for bugs. Like you knew
yeah.
these bugs existed, right? There's no way they assumed
Yeah.
like by the time the game comes out the bugs are fixed. If
Yeah.
I don't know, I
There's
really it left a bad taste in my mouth.
no,
But
absolutely.
yeah,
It's making me not want to play the game. Like to be quite
we
honest, like
boycott.
because like I love. I mean, like I love the Witcher games. Like I love them, and like that made me excited for this game. But even without the crunch, like I've been looking at this game, and it looks more and more and more like a next gen Grand Theft Auto,
Yeah,
and
you
like
see it being released on
it's
like
cool.
PS8.
It's cool. Yeah, it's cool that there's like different origins. That's really neat. It's cool that they keep insisting that it's an RPG, and everyone who's played it has said that it acts and feels like an RPG. But like the characteristics, like it just looks like your like friend is like, "Hey, Gringo, what's up?" I'm like, that's like those stereotypical Hispanic dude I've ever seen, and
J.K.
like
Rowling wrote it.
it yeah, like it just looks so from a story perspective,
And
like and a tone perspective, it looks exactly what I'm not interested in. And like that doesn't mean that like people there aren't going to be tons of people who are very interested in it.
and I
I've
think
just never been interested in that sort of like gang aspect, that
yeah, me
like
neither.
corporate espionage,
I'm not a huge like fan of like GTA and stuff.
you know.
In this
So I
game,
mean, I'm sure like CD Projekt Red puts out quality games. I'm
yeah, yeah.
sure, regardless of the ethics of crunching their employees' to death, or even if it's not something I'm personally interested, in, I'm sure
Here's
it'll
the
be a
thing.
quality at the end of it. But
Uh, to me, I
I
think
just
the
it's
yeah. Sorry.
killing my interest in it. Like it's just killing my interest in it.
This news really left like a bad taste in my mouth. But like I think the reason why the news itself wasn't like the only reason I lost interest in this game was I think the game started losing momentum from the first delay. I think
Mm.
the game was coming out. I remember like in April or May, one of those two
Yeah,
dates.
something
Yeah,
like that.
and I thought that was a perfect date. And I remember people saying, "Wow, at least COVID is striking, but at least we have time to play Cyberpunk." And I thought, yeah, and I was like, okay. Weirdly enough, Cyberpunk and Animal Crossing are gonna have the best like launch dates, because if they can launch them here in like in these dates, they can actually get something special. And Animal Crossing did get something special. Animal Crossing was a phenomenon. It's still being a phenomenon. It's still like one of the best sellers here in Portugal, at least. Like, and I remember the first delay. They said like, due to the COVID, we're having problems finishing the game, so we're gonna have to delay. I was like, okay, so then delaying it to November. Okay, I kind of lost my interest there. Not like fully, but I was started like, okay, so they're delaying it a lot. They delayed it a lot, half a year. Yeah, half a year. That's 6 months, half a year. Um, and I was like, okay, okay, that's fine. So is it PS5? So I was like, okay, so they're probably gonna make it like a PS5, Xbox Series X, whatever, launch title. And then like a couple like days after that, I was like, nope, it's not a PS5 Series X launch title. The enhancements only are gonna come out in 2021. I was like, okay, okay, that's fine. So the game is coming out in November, and like, yes, the game is coming out in November. And then in November, they delayed it again. I was like, yep, I'm not seeing this game coming out this year at all. And I think they know it's not coming out this year, but it bothers me because I can feel they're still gonna have their developers crunch, which is like, at least I talked about this a while ago, but I'm gonna say it again. Nintendo did something with Metroid that I loved, which was basically they announced they were developing Metroid, and like they did a whole press like saying this is coming out. Okay, and then like a year after the announcement, or maybe 2 years, they actually gave out like an announcement. Sorry, not an announcement, but like they put out a video of like the Nintendo director saying, "Hey, the game is going through some difficulties, and we're gonna start all over. And we could give you the game this year, but we have to overwork our workers, and we have to like overwork to have something that we don't even know if it's going to be worth it. And that's not what we want to do. We want to have the best product, we want to have the best like situation here, so we're going to start from scrap, which means the game is probably not coming out until like 20. People are assuming next year, but I still doubt it. I'm assuming 2022 because this video came out I think last year, 2019. And I was like really fine with that. When I saw that announcement, I was like, okay, I like this. They're being honest and they're being reasonable, and I'd rather have a reasonable and I rather have a believable date where I don't see
Mhm.
people actually being. I was gonna use a really bad word here, but I don't. I don't want to see people working their asses off, basically, to an unhealthy point here, because 14 hours a day, that's it's insane. They sleep less than like 7 hours. If they take 3 hours to shower and eat, they sleep. It's insane to me. It's disgusting. And I think you said that was it the directive creative director of Apex Legends,
Apex Legends, yeah, and
who
aptly his name is actually Chad, and it's very aptly named.
very
He
appropriate.
like people have been complaining that like, oh, there isn't enough content for Apex Legends, and like even with the new season coming out, it's not much. And he straight up said, he's like, we don't have as much content as other games consistently because I refuse to crunch.
I
And
I
like
can
I
I
have
can I can respect that.
like
Honestly, I
so
actually
much
respect
respect
that
for
a lot.
that. And also like I looked at the content for the new seasons. There's like new maps, a new
There's
character. I'm like, what
constantly
did
new Matt. My friend
I'm
is a
like, what are
huge
you guys talking about?
my
Like
friend is a
no
huge
content.
Legends fan.
Yeah,
He loves the game, and he
yeah,
never complained about content. He's always like, "Yeah,
yeah,
it's not as like regular as I expected, but when it drops, it drops. Like there's actually
yeah.
new stuff. There's new characters. There's a lot of stuff like, and that also happened with. I don't know if you know this, but you don't play. You're not like a true gamer. But on Fortnite, this new season, the Marvel season, took like 3 delays, and they
Yeah.
explained it the 3 times. This is getting hard to work due to COVID, and and they were like, okay, we're getting some trouble getting the workers to actually work on the game because, as you know, everyone was at their homes working, so they had to like get everyone on the server to work through
Yeah.
their like online, and people were complaining and saying, "Wow, this is
That's
the
yeah,
third
like
time you
that just shows
delay
how
this."
like entitled people
People
are.
think they're
Like
entitled to. It's honestly disgusting, and I hate
yeah,
that thought.
yeah.
And I was like,
Which
it's sad. Sure, I'm not gonna complain. I'm not gonna lie. It's sad. It's sad that they keep delaying stuff, but like they aren't delaying to make it worse. They're delaying it to make it
yeah,
better. I would understand
yeah,
if they were delaying to make something worse, but no, they're actually delaying to give you the best product. Because
yeah,
I'm pretty sure if they release Cyberpunk today or whatever whenever it releases and releases with like a shit ton of bugs. I'm using Cyberpunk here as an example. Sorry, I know it's a
mm,
bad example, but let's use Cyberpunk here.
yeah,
And it
yeah.
came out with shit ton of bugs. Everyone will be like, "Oh, such a bad game. It's all broken."
Mhm.
Bro, they wanted to delay it to correct those problems. Like,
You know, the like I always love to shout out this particular community. The game, have you heard of the game Warframe?
oh yeah, the
Yeah,
20,
that
20, 20
community.
million registered losers. That's what the girl said on the ad.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not joking. She actually said, "We have 10 million registered losers," and then she's like,
Losers.
"Users."
Oh my god.
It was it was
Nice.
kind of bad. She
Oh
said,
my god.
"Check it
But
out."
that community, that's hilarious. That community, when they heard that the team for Red Dead Redemption 2 was getting intense crunch, they literally posted on their forums asking the developers not to crunch because they didn't want to overwork the developers. And I was like, that's such a sadly rare thing to see in gaming communities
Yeah,
for like just pure compassion. And also, Warframe is a fantastic game.
it
Um,
is.
but
Warframe is one of the best ports I've seen on Switch. I know it's kind of weird, but it
nice.
is. Like when you play Warframe, I only play like a few like hours, but when you play Warframe on the Switch, it looks incredible. It runs at 60 steady frames per second.
60 study.
60
Oh,
frames per second steady. It's
Wow.
unbelievable how it's still one of those games that you look and think, how did they manage to do this? And I know
Hmm.
people always say that like with Witcher 3, but when you look at Witcher 3 on the Switch, it looks really rough. I
Yeah.
played like a demo, it looks really rough. But Warframe looks like incredible. There's two games to me that I feel like look as good as the other version. Okay, maybe Warframe doesn't look as good, but like it's close. It's
Mhm.
Warframe and Ori and the Blind Forest. Those two games look incredible on the Switch, and I
Yeah.
applaud like the team around War. And everyone says this about Warframe. Everyone says like Warframe is works really well on every other console, and
Mhm. It just
I don't
runs
like
so
Warframe. I don't play Warframe, but I really respect the game and respect
yeah.
the team behind it. They did
It's
a
it's
great
one of the
job.
first it's one of the first games where like I saw the cinematic cutscene or whatever, and I was like, oh yeah, they're doing all this cool stuff like running on the walls and stuff, like, and then I'm able to do exactly that in gameplay, which
Yeah.
is so awesome. But anyways, yeah, please, game developers, don't crunch your employees to death. Like, good lord, it's
It's
human
weird that
lives
people
are
have to
worth
say this,
more
but
than a video game coming
d-
out. Like,
don't listen to the stupid ass gamers who feel like they're
seriously.
entitled to get a game a little bit
Mhm.
earlier than expected.
Yeah, and it's really
Oh,
sad because
it's gonna be
it's
even.
really
You know
yeah.
what's worse? When they delay the game, and they probably will, it's gonna have
Yeah.
another riot,
Yeah,
and
probably people will like freak out. They're like,
freak out.
"Ah, how dare you not give me
They're
my
gonna delay it
game?"
because it didn't meet the the requirements for Game of the Year. So like, nope, we're gonna try
Yeah,
next year. Either that or they're afraid of Last of Us 2, which you should.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
No,
okay, let's
absolutely.
move on to the last topic to wrap up the episode. So as you know,
Hmm.
as always, we end our show with a recommendation, a personal recommendation of what we've been playing. I'm gonna go first because I know what Matt's gonna say, and I'm gonna punch him because he's gonna say what the game I'm thinking of. So I'm gonna go first, and I'm gonna actually recommend a decent game. No, I'm kidding. I've been playing a really cool game that a lot of people told me to try out. I was kind of hesitant because it's not really my style, but I'm really enjoying it, which is Hades. So if you don't know what Hades is, it's basically a dungeon crawler, kind of like Binding of Isaac. So basically, you're trying to get out of hell. That's the game, and the game runs a lot around the trial and error type of game. So that means when you start the game, you have a lot of different dungeons. So the game is like changing the dungeons. It's an algorithm that changes whichever dungeon you go into, and you go through the dungeons. And when you die, you start all over again. You start the entire game from the beginning. So basically, the game. But every time you die, you get a little bit more powerful. Like a guy will be standing there giving you an extra boost, whether it's your attack, your special attack, or your ultimate. You have like three different attacks. It's really fun. It's really cool. It's gonna get frustrating because you're gonna get far and then you're gonna die. You're gonna have to start all over again. But you're gonna be like, it's okay. It was my bad. It was my fault. Why the reason why I died it was is because of my mistake and not because of the game being unfair, which to me is understandable. Always like I hate when people say the game is not fair. No, the game is fair. It's your error. It's you have to learn. They expect you to die. It's basically like Demon Souls. Demon Souls is not well. Maybe Demon Souls is unfair, but like Bloodborne is not unfair. It expects you to die and learn the mechanics of the game and learn the gameplay, so you can actually outdo the your opponent. So like to me, those are the best type of games. Games that are tough but they are fair, and they expect you to learn from your mistakes. And Hades is like the best type of game you can have on that like genre. Yeah, it's fantastic. I love the game. It's really fun to play. Really good actually. Voice acting. The game has a lot of voice acting, and it's awesome. I know it's a weird for a dungeon 2D dungeon 2.5D dungeon crawler, but it is really good acting. Voice acting. It's on Switch. I think it's on PC. It's really cheap as well. If you want to check it out, it's my recommendation. So I'll give Matt Miles Morales more Miles Morales time. So I'm assuming it's Miles Morales. If it's not Miles
Yeah,
Morales, I'm sorry.
absolutely, absolutely. It's else. I can't say honestly. I can't say enough good things about this game. Like I'm so impressed by how. I mean, it's weird. Like I guess I should be expecting this from Insomniac, but like the presentation feels very mature in a way, like
Hmm.
very movie like not like just cinematic, which it is, but like there's literally like music montages of stuff happening, which feels very like 80s movie style, which
I
works
love it.
really well. Like there's like it isn't so much a training montage. It's like I don't consider this a like it's a his when they're going through the different like a Spidey suit or something, and there's like a montage of him like breaking down stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it felt like I was watching a movie, which I know that's not like new for a game, but like it's much less like cinematic gameplay and more like it felt like I was watching a movie, which was really cool. Um, yeah, I will say there have been a few bugs. I got stuck inside a wall. An enemy got stuck inside a wall another time. One time a cutscene didn't load.
That's actually
Like,
one thing I heard
yeah,
about.
yeah,
But it's expected. So I
yeah.
heard
No,
like
I get it. It's
the
like I was playing
PS4
it on
version
day
has
one.
more problems because the game was made on the PS5 and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
actually
yeah.
just ported it for the PS4. So it's
Yeah.
expected
Which,
the PS4 to run a little bit
mhm.
worse when it comes to like the game, when it comes to bugs and stuff.
But I also like
But I'm assuming it's minimal,
I
right?
basically played all day, and like for the most part, it ran incredibly
Oh
smoothly. The
yeah.
loading times are virtually non-existent for me. And again, I don't have a PS4 Pro. I just have a regular PS4.
I I I went 7 years with the regular man. I don't have the
Yeah,
pro as well.
yeah. So like it's yeah. I so far it's incredible for me. I cannot wait to talk more about this game. I can't wait
Yes, I
to go
promise
play it after this.
I'll be
I
quick. I'll be quick on
yeah
beating it so we can actually
yeah.
talk.
Yeah, I mean, like
And
take your time, man. But like,
no. I'm gonna speed through it. I'm not gonna sleep
we
for
don't,
2 days.
we don't want you to crunch. Come
I'm
on.
gonna crunch Miles Morales when it comes to gameplay wise. Okay,
Yeah,
so that
I'm
ends another
excited.
episode here with me and Matt. We're gonna try to get more content out on this type of format. Now, I'm not saying it's podcast wise, but like for example, we're gonna keep this format for our review of Miles.
Mhm.
Um, we have also we'll be making a review of the PS5. Unfortunately, Matt probably won't be there because he doesn't have one
You,
yet.
I am
Raz
not going
will
to be
probably
spending
be
that much
there.
money
I'm
for.
gonna ask another folk, another guest that we had already here, and just gaming to help us out on the review. And yeah, we'll do more episodes. Let us know what if you have any topic you want to talk about. Maybe something that we could dedicate an entire video on. We also be talking about like the we've talked about this before, but we'll be talking about the Christmas season and what to look forward and probably what you should get. Probably Matt's gonna say just get everyone a pre-order of Mass Effect, but we'll see his picks.
We'll see. I actually don't. I don't condone pre-ordering. Honestly, just like wait until reviews come in. Like I waited until reviews came in
Oh
for
really?
Miles. Yeah,
The only reason why I
I.
pre-order is because it's way cheaper.
Oh,
It,
really? It's cheaper
yeah.
for you?
So here in Portugal, if you pre-order, you get 20% off on a game.
What? Oh my god! I would pre-order all the time. Forget
Yeah, that's
that.
why I pre-ordered. But I only pre-ordered games that I know for a fact that even if the reviews aren't that good, I'm gonna like them.
Yeah.
Like I usually, for
Mhm.
example, I
No,
usually
what I
pre-order first-party Sony games
yeah.
because I'm a Sony
Mhm.
fanboy. I
Mhm.
pre-order some Switch games because they also get that discount. And like third-party, I'm kind of hesitant, but I usually the reviews do come out like a few days before, and the few days before are enough for me to get to pre-order the game. Like you can pre-order the game 1 day before. That's it. You can pre-order 2 days before, 3 days before. So like usually the reviews come out like 3 days before the game come out. So if the game is good and gets good reviews, I'll pre-order that same day. So like that's the only reason I pre-ordered because of the 20% discount gets me
Yeah.
save a lot of
No,
money.
what I do is I just wait until like literally a few hours before the game releases.
Do
I
you
look
have
at the reviews,
do you
and then
have
it's like I still got
something
the pre-order bonus.
do you have something in Canada which is like basically you go and hand in a game and you get an extra discount?
Yeah, but it's like here's $5 or something.
No,
It's not that.
here is amazing. So here basically the value that they discount on the game is always the same, whether you hand in Last of Us 2 or FIFA 10. If you hand
Really?
in FIFA like 10 for the, it has to be a PS4 game. That's the only
Oh,
rule. So
it's
if you
great.
hand in like FIFA 14, which costs like €1, then you hand in, they're like,
It's
okay, so you take Last of Us for $40 now, and you get it for
wow.
40
It's no.
bucks.
It's literally. It's like a meme here. Like it's so hilariously insulting. They're like, all right, here's $2.34 of credit for this game that you bought for like $80. Um, but yeah, no, it's.
Yeah.
I'm
So
excited. I'm excited to talk about Miles. I'm excited to just
are you excited for the
games in
holiday season
2020.
of the
Yeah,
COVID holiday
games in
season?
2020 have been great.
Yeah, we're also going
Probably.
to talk about that because we dedicated a video for the best games of the generation, but we don't have a video for the best games of 2020,
Hmm.
which we will do probably in this format as well because those games will probably want to dive in more.
Hmm.
But yeah, this was our newest episode, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye.
Hmm.